What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel, Real Talk Recovery, where we talk about recovery from addiction and I share my life with you. My name's Nicole and I'm an addict, and my sobriety date is July 13th of 2015. So, I do utilize maintenance medication. I'm currently on 2 milligrams of Suboxone, and I tapered down from 12 milligrams to 2 milligrams. For those of you guys that are new to the channel, I go live on Mondays and Fridays. Mondays we do step studies. Fridays we do MARA, which is Medication Assisted Recovery Anonymous. So if you are someone who is utilizing methadone, Suboxone, naltrexone, Sublocade, Vivitrol in your recovery and you need support and you don't get to go to meetings because you don't feel welcome, come hang out with us on Friday nights at 7. I promise you, you will not regret it. So, before we get into this video, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and don't forget to click the notification bell. That way you will be notified when I upload and go live. Also, leave me a comment down below and kind of share with me some things that you've been through in your past or your addiction or what you're going through now in your recovery, because today what we're talking about is we are reading from my diary that I kept while I was in active addiction. So last week when we read, I was actually talking about, I think it was November, December, so it was Thanksgiving, Christmas time, and I had just given birth to my son in July of 2014. So this was right after that, and I had just relapsed in November. So let's get into it. Okay. I have the page folded over. Okay. So here we go. So after Neil broke his TV, I was so upset. I decided to go with Tara to Fifi's house for an hour to calm down and just get out of the house since all the carpet was soaking wet. So my mother-in-law was obviously shampooing the carpets. I was only gone for 1 hour, and when I got home, I noticed Neil's truck had been moved. This is something that I would do all the time. I was constantly like just private eye investigating 007 because I would get paranoid because I was getting high. Anytime you hear me talk about Tara or go into Tara's house in this diary, it's because I was getting high on methamphetamine. So obviously I was gone getting high on meth with Tara. Okay. I was only gone for 1 hour, and when I got home, I noticed Neil's truck had been moved. I asked him where he went, and he said nowhere at first, until I told him I knew his truck had been moved. Dun, dun, dun. Then he told me he went to Chinaman's house to buy Xanax. Now, Chinaman was one of our dealers. I'm not going to say his real name, but we called him Chinaman because he was Asian. Chinaman sold Roxy's, he sold Xanax, he sold Klonopin, he sold any kind of pills. He lived literally half a mile down the street from us in this apartment building, and every time we would go over there, you guys, I swear to God, the roaches were having roaches. There was little itty-bitty baby roaches, and then roaches this big everywhere. You couldn't even sit down without them crawling on you. Now, early this morning, he had went and only bought me 4 blues, which were the blue Xanax, as y'all know. 2 equals a bar, $12 worth, and took $50 cash back at Kroger, but said that he did not buy any for himself. So already I'm dissecting this fool, because I know that he's went down to Chinaman's house, got a bunch of Xanax, and only gave me 4. Bullshit. I know he took more than me. Okay? But said he did not buy any for himself. So I leave, come home, and I know he is not on Xanax. Xanax makes him sleep. So I asked him about 7 more times to just tell me the truth, and he proceeded to lie. Well, by this time he is itching his nose, and I can tell he is high on Roxy's or some kind of opiate. I ask him again. He lies. He then takes our son upstairs with him to try and take a nap with him. Something he does not do unless I ask him to. So one thing that we would always fight and argue about, you guys, was that I was always doing everything. I'm the one who put Nate down for naps. I'm the one who changed diapers. I'm the one who, everything was me because I'm the mom, right? Which, looking back on it, I know that, like, that's my job. I'm Nate's mom. I think at this time I was just so angry because we were getting high and we were struggling, and I kind of felt like I was just doing all the work and he was doing nothing. I felt like I was trapped here at the house because I had no way to leave. I didn't have my own vehicle, and he got to leave every day to go to work. And so I had a resentment towards him. I resented him because, you know, his parents would allow him to live here. He had no consequences, I felt like, and it was like I felt like all the consequences were constantly on me. I felt like I was always the one being blamed, you know? By this time, it's around 4 p.m. and Jordan comes over crying and has K8s, which are Dilaudids, and she needs me to hit her. I do, and she gives me half of one that I snort. Then I decided to text Chinaman and ask him if I can come by and get a couple more blues. He replies, blues or pinks. I reply what I got last and what kind of deal can I get for 3. He says 25. So I'm going to buy 3 Roxy's, okay? Bam! I busted Neil. Neil bought Roxy's knowing he is going to be popped with a drug test any day. So I confronted him. He gets really defensive and tries to turn the attention from his wrongdoing by saying that I lie all the time. So here I am. I just got high on a Dilaudid because Jordan came over and needed me to shoot her up, okay? And so I'm going behind his back because he already went and got high behind my back. And so this would happen all the time. I would catch him in a lie, and then I would go get fucked up, and then he would catch me in a lie, and then he'd go get fucked up, and it was just a back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. At this time, I think his parents were just beginning to move out into their new house, so we were fixing to have this house all to ourselves. But what they were doing was they would go bowling and they wouldn't be home. So my next door neighbor, Jordan, when she lived there, she would know that. She would know she could come over and I would be able to shoot her up because she really struggled being able to hit herself, get her own veins. He told me he didn't tell me because he is a grown man and he can do what he wants, and that I annoy him, disgust him, and get on his nerves, and he cannot stand me. So, I hate even reading this because he would never do this now. He would never do any of these things now. And this was all because we were in our active addiction. And it was because I was lying. It always usually started out with me lying. And so I just don't want any of you guys to think badly of him because of this next thing I'm going to read. Then he grabbed me by the neck and slammed me into the bathroom wall, choking me because he wanted his phone back. So when I say choking me, I mean he had me by my neck and was holding me against the wall because, of course, you know me, I went and stole his phone and was going through it. And so there's not any excuse for physical violence ever, but I just want you guys to understand that I was not innocent. You know what I'm saying? And he wasn't beating me or anything like that. A lot of it was things that I provoked. And so in this instance, my husband has never laid a hand on me. He's such a good man. I love him with all my heart, and he would never hurt me today. But when we were in our active addiction, this is the way we acted. I ran to call 911, and he grabbed me and threw me down and says, then I will just kill you, you stupid bitch, and starts to strangle me. So, obviously, we are going back and forth. I know without a shadow of a doubt, because I can remember this, that I was punching the shit out of him and hitting him, and he was trying to restrain me. And I would keep going until he would literally lose his cool, you know, and we were both so high. So what happened is his mom ended up coming home and catching us fighting like that. And so he ended up having to go to work. So let me read. He leaves for work, and I go to Jordan's and do another Dilaudid. And I text him and tell him I did one. No lies. He told me he is embarrassed to be engaged to me, and then that threatens to take Nate from me. I texted him and poured my heart out to him, telling him his words hurt worse than anything ever. He threatened to tell my mom, but I had already talked to her. She didn't want to hear the shit from him. He also tells me I better Molly made it up when he gets home in the AM, and he doesn't care. He will kick me out and leave me. All this because he couldn't just tell me the truth. And all he continues to do is deflect and blame from himself onto me by bringing up shit I have done in the past and no longer do. If he is lying to me about a couple of stupid pills, what else is he hiding from me? So, I know you guys can relate to this, because I know if you were with somebody while you were in your active addiction and they were also in their active addiction, that we say things to each other that we don't mean. We throw insults at each other. And so, like I said, if Neil had a diary from back then, his diary would read about how I pushed him over the edge, and how I wouldn't stop, and how I would lie, and how I would tell him he was a worthless piece of shit dad, and that, you know, Nate deserves better, because those are the kinds of things that we would do when we were in our addiction. We would throw these horrible insults at each other that we would know would hurt so bad, you know, because we were both so sick in our addiction, and all we wanted to do was make the other person feel that pain. Makes me sad reading this, because I love my husband so much. And I know that he loves me with all his heart, because he shows me by taking good care of me and my son, our son. And so reading this makes me remember how sick we were. Because when we met, we fell in love, and we haven't been separated except for twice. Once when I was in treatment, and once when he was in treatment. And so reading this just makes me remember, like, I can't believe we made it out. I can't believe that we are still together and we didn't kill each other, you know? Okay. Where did I leave off? Okay, bye. Okay. So this is how upset I was. I know I should not have done that K8, but I called and told him the moment I did it. I did not lie or hide it from him. I am not sure where to go from here, but this is why I am insecure. This is why I do not trust him. This is the father of my son. I do not know who he is anymore or who he is becoming. All I know is I'm fighting so hard to keep our family together, and it seems like the harder I try, the farther he drifts away from me. All I want is love, trust, and communication, honesty, and equality. I want so badly to keep trying so hard to keep us together. But if only one person is trying, it will never work. I went into this relationship knowing we were both addicts, and it was going to take a lot of hard work and dedication. And I am willing and putting in my share, but I feel as if Neil does not want to try. He does not love me anymore, and he is certainly not in love with me. You cannot have love if there is only one person showing the love. I'm so scared. I'm heartbroken, but I have to be strong for my baby. All this for 2 pills. So simple. I begged him to just tell me, because I already knew the truth before I got the proof. Tomorrow is Christmas Eve. I am so depressed and heartbroken. To be continued. So, we're going to stop there, and we'll pick back up on Christmas Day. This was Christmas Eve of 2014, and that was the toxicity of our relationship. It was a back and forth fight. It was back and forth lying about, getting pills, about who was going to take the most, about not bringing each other back any, arguing, fighting, yelling. This is what it was like. And reading that and reflecting back on that, like I said, it makes me sad because I know how much my husband loves me, and I know he would never, ever say those things to me today. But that's what happened when we were in our addiction. And I was not innocent. And I read that and I hear how skewed my perception was, because here in my mind, when I was writing that, I thought I was innocent. I thought I did nothing wrong. But I was lying and cheating and stealing and scamming and going behind his back just the same. So I was not innocent. But that's how skewed my mind and my thinking was because of drugs. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of reading from my diary. And like I said, I hope you understand that, this was a past. This is when we were in our active addiction, full-fledged addiction. I had just had my son in July, and we relapsed by November. And so we were really, really struggling. And it wasn't shortly after, in about 6 months after that, in July of 2015, when my son finally got removed from my care. So until the next time, I hope you guys will come tonight and hang out with me and Splinter from Prison POV. We're going to be talking all about his Suboxone treatment and how it worked out for him and what he's doing now. So I hope you guys will join us at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time tonight. Love you guys and have a great day.